Hello my boys, good morning. I just woke up, I made my coffee here from the kitchen, and I noticed that GGG just implemented patch 0.20G. Yeah, and in this beautiful video I will discuss this patch and how it will affect the game. I also noticed that it rolled back. I think I woke up like 30 minutes ago, and I cannot log in inside the game because they are rolling back the patch. They have a problem. Basically, after they deploy the patch, people notice that they are missing up skill gems, and because of this GGG had to roll back the patch and deploy it again tomorrow. So this patch will go live Friday, May 2025. But until then, let's discuss all these changes and how it will affect the game. If I am to sum up this patch, because I read before opening the recording, I read everything here. Pretty much you will see more loot and it will encourage more to have rarity on your items. So let's jump into the bread. I will zoom in a little, 1 second. Okay, this patch contains significant changes to item drops, changes to the difficulty of Simulacrum, this is actually another big one, as well as other changes and bug fixes. Let's start with item drop changes. We modified the rarity value at which normal items no longer drop. This means that unique bosses will never drop normal items except for a selected few early in the game. This means less trash that you find when killing bosses. So less trash that you find, this is a tiny change towards better. We have half the amount of rare gold drops. This means that if you roll a rare item, you get more rare equipment or rare currency instead of gold. Good! Rare gold piles are now twice as large, so you will still get the same amount of gold as before on average. So you're not missing out of gold, just that you have more chances of finding rare equipment or rare currency instead of gold. This is a great change because you want to see more loot, so you're encouraged to play the game. This is our first biggest change. Gold, magic currency, quality currency, flash charms and runes are now much less likely to drop from monsters with high item rarity. These three changes generally result in around 20-30% more rare currency. Exalted Orbs, Orb of Alchemy, Regal Orbs, etc. I like that GGG didn't mention here Divine Orbs because you need to understand Divine Orbs, it's a very rare drop. So they keep it real with you. You will see it more often Divine Orbs, but don't expect to be raining with Divine Orbs. Quality currency, flash charms and runes were not that expensive to begin with, and now you're more inclined to find good currency like Divine Orbs, Exalted Orbs, Orb of Alchemy. This is a great change. Tier 2 rare items now drop 4 times more often. Tier 3 to 5 now drop 30% more often. The modifiers of tier rares have also been improved by cutting out more low level modifiers, making them better on average than before. Yeah, so in case you don't know, rarity affects the tier of the rares. Higher tiers, like tier 3 to 5, are more inclined of giving you good rolled modifiers. So those rare items will be more expensive, yeah? And this also encourages item rarity. So you want to have rarity on your items to benefit most out of this change. Keep in mind that the biggest money makers in this game are also the rares. Yeah, so a new player thinks that he needs to drop raw Divine Orbs or perfect jewelers to make currency. No, a veteran Path of Exile player knows that the real money makers are the rare items. Yeah, if you get used to the modifiers and you know what sells and what combination is good, you can make a lot of profit in this game. Tier 2 and higher magic items now drop a raw 5 times more often. This is good for crafters. Again, veteran players actually check the magic items, a thing that new players never do. The low level modifier culling of tier magic have been significantly improved with tier 2, now culling 50% of the modifier range and improving from there. Tier 5 magic items will usually only roll the highest modifier available. This is huge for crafting, especially because we have those essences, we know essence crafting, and magic items with highest modifier available is so good for a given type. This means that tiered magic items should be a much better starting point for crafting and recombination device. Again, if you want to benefit most out of these two changes, you need a lot of rarity on your gears. Get used to the modifiers, maybe, you know, watch a POEGuy video and you will understand what to pick, what to look for. Yeah, I think I'll make an updated guide on the modifiers for Path of Exile 2. Now, unique monsters. Except for a few unique bosses at the start of Act 1, all unique monsters will always drop a rare item. This is not that a big change, because already you get shit ton of rares everywhere. But who knows, maybe they are tier 5 rare items, in that case they are good. In campaign you will only get guaranteed rare items the first time you kill each boss. In maps you always get it. This is not that significant as you believe, but you know, more loot, why not? Azmerian wisps. Everyone was waiting for change here because, as you know, there was a bug where the wisp did not do much. Let's see here. Rare monsters possessed by Azmerian wisp now always drop a rare item. Man, this is shit. I don't care about this. I was hoping something much more bigger, to be honest. Fix the bug where the first wisp in the Grey World didn't have... I don't care about the Grey World, I care about the end game. So, in Path of Exile, I only care about the end game. You know, campaign you do it just once, and you stay the majority of your time in the end game. That's the only thing that I care. I think that they low-key fixed the bug. So people were claiming that there was a bug where wisp did nothing. You know, you allocated the wisp, the monster got possessed, and you will not see anything drastically in terms of loot. People said that it's a bug, and I think that GGG low-key fixed it, you know, but they didn't put it here. These changes suck for the wisp. I was expecting much more. This is something very big here regarding rare and magic chests, you know. I usually like to open them, yeah. Magic chests have drastically increased item rarity and quantity, and also guarantee at least a magic item. They are approximately as rewarding as rare chests were before. So now when you see a magic chest, it will be as rewarding as a rare chest. Man, I need to experiment with this. Keep in mind that on an Atlas skill tree, you have a node that increases your chances of finding rare chest and magic chest. If this change appears to be good, everyone should take that node, in my opinion. Rare chests also have drastically increased item quantity and rarity, and guarantee at least a rare item. Man, who the fuck cares about rare item? Guarantee me something better. In cruel difficulty, chests give a further 50% more item quantity and item rarity, and 100% more in endgame, making them very powerful then. We only care about the endgame because, again, campaign, you finish it, you do it just one. 100% more stuff in the endgame, it's very powerful. Yeah, it says 100% item quantity and rarity. That's nuts. Nuts. We know after they fix here the rollback, man, they need to implement the patch. I will test it and I will go for rare and magic chest because this is too big. It's a big change in terms of loot. We have changed the map modifiers that increases the chance of finding magic and rare chests to instead add a fixed number of additional magic and rare chests. This is not that important in my opinion, but yeah, because nobody will stay to count the chest. You know, in this map you have 7 magic chests. You won't go. If you find one in your way, you'll open it. If no, that's it. You open a new map and you continue there. Strongboxes. So Strongboxes, even in patch 0.2, they were not rewarding. I tested them for more than 4 days and they sucked. Let's see the changes here. Strongboxes have increased item quantity and rarity, guarantee a rare item as well. Man, they are obsessed with rare items. With one, let's be clear, one. As well, getting a further 50% more item quantity and rarity in Cruel, and 100% in... This is huge. So for Strongboxes now we're gonna see 100% item quantity and rarity. Man, I don't know what GGG is thinking. They're doing drastic changes. You know, they're jumping to extremes. So now they buffed it by 100% more item quantity and rarity. That's a lot if you don't know. Yeah, if it's for the better, good, but I will spec into Strongboxes because usually things go like this. Either they go broken and they are very rewarding, either they are still trash. My guess is that they will be in the broken section very rewarding, so I will unspec my Atlas and go directly to Strongboxes and the magic chest. Yeah, I want to test them. Yeah. Researchers Strongboxes will now have a much higher chance to drop rare currency instead of just magic currency, but that was needed. You know, usually when you did a research Strongbox, you get a lot of orb of transmutation, orb of augmentation, and you start crying and you start bitching. Now, hopefully we will see a lot of divine orbs. Of course not. Reduce the variance in the number of items Strongboxes drops. They should more consistently drop a good number of items. And I don't clearly understand what they say here, but I think it's for the better. So you see more stuff on the ground. Yeah. Trial of the Sekhema. Regular bronze chests now have the same base balance as rare chests doing normal difficulty campaign, including guaranteeing rare items. They are obsessed with this thing. Basically, so they're addressing the chests that you find at the end. So these are similar changes. So in Trial of the Sekhema, the chests, the Strongboxes, and the magic rare chests that you find in your maps. Similar things. Silver and gold chests increase item quantity and rarity by value significantly higher than before. Good. Arcanist chests have the same improvement to drop composition as researcher Strongboxes. So what we've seen here also applies to this one. Arcanist chest currency and royal chest jewels are much more common. And the chance of getting silver and gold keys as room rewards instead of bronze keys has been significantly increased. This is not a huge change, but you know, if you already farmed the Trial of Sekhemas, this will make you happier. Trial of Chaos. As you continue to increase the level you play in Trial of Chaos, corrupted rares are phased out from the rewards. This is great. This is great because a lot of them you cannot craft them further, you cannot apply quality, you cannot apply sockets, and that sucked. And rare currency stacks are phased in. Ooh, this is great. So this means that you can find a stack of Divine Orbs, a stack of Exalted Orbs, making Trial of Chaos very, very profitable. Because you know, at the end of each room, a Trial Master appeared offering you a thing. Most of those things that he offered were trash, that were corrupted, you cannot even modify further. Now you can find the rare currency stacks, this is great. You can also find uncorrupted rares that you can continue to craft on. Items that draw from monsters in the trial no longer have a chance to be corrupted. I don't care about these things because a lot of them are trash, but again, maybe you wanted to craft them, maybe you wanted to add socket, maybe you have an amulet, you want to instill it. Yeah, so it makes sense. These are good changes for Trial of Chaos, and I'm really hyped about the rare currency stacks that we can appear as a reward. This is a good direction. Expedition Magic and Rare Chest now have the same base balance as the other endgame Magic and Rare Chest. They are obsessed with chests in this patch, so of course they affected Expedition. Normal Expedition chests have also been improved. We also fixed a bug where increased chest item rarity from Expedition Remnants was not multiplying correctly with the chest item rarity the chest already had. These Remnants will now have a greater effect. There was a Redman that you detonated, making the chest more rewarding, and that didn't work. Now it will work properly. Buff the rewards from most Expedition Remnant mods. This is huge, especially because on the Atlas skill tree we have a node that makes Expedition Remnants more potent. Double the number of Expedition artifacts that drop. Increase the amount of exotic coinages that drop by 50%. These two things will make it that the artifacts will lower slightly in price. Yeah, so it will be more common because a lot of people are farming Expedition at the moment. Also, exotic coinage will lower slightly in price. And as more people farm Expedition, also the logbooks will lower in price, meaning that Svalin Shield will be cheaper. Hopefully, also Old Road Flask will drop by 1 Diviner. I really hope that this happens. Expedition Remnants upside modifiers have generally been buffed. Several Expedition Remnant downsides have been adjusted. Basically, this is a good change, it will be more rewarding and the masters will be easier. The Expedition Remnant modifier that causes master to have 100% chance to avoid being chilled, ignite, frozen, shocked have been replaced with a new modifier that increases their element thresholds. Yeah? Because some builds were heavily focused on, for example, igniting enemies or shocking enemies, and those builds struggle with Expedition and usually had to skip it. Now they can also do it. 2 new Expedition Remnants upside modifiers have been added. This can be found in map areas. But it's actually funny, they have not addressed the biggest problem for a lot of builds, not my build here, but different builds, where they get one-shotted. There is a rare monster, which is an archer with a crossbow, can one-shot people. And people were complaining about that rare monster that does way too much damage, especially once it gets buffed, and that bad boy is still in the game. So you'll still get one-shotted. Hey, you want it to go with POEGuy's build. I'll put it on the screen, you'll have it in the description, and you'll have a good time. Delirium. Increase the amount of item rarity per death in Delirium encounters. It increases to approximately 2.5 than what it was before. This is a big change that will make it more rewarding. Item rarity, as you know, affects a lot of things. This is great. I think it also affects in Simulacrum, not only in maps. The Delirious percentage scaling with waves in Simulacrum has been reduced. Each wave now adds 5% Delirious, previously 10%, up to a maximum of 75% at difficulty 0, previously 100, and 150 at difficulty 4, previously 140. I like this change because it's not drastic. So you need to understand that in Path of Exile 2 we have different builds. Some builds are more like of a glass cannon with tons of DPS, millions of DPS, and some builds are more tanky. Yeah, and we have different content in this game, and you don't want a build that shines at all this content. For example, a glass cannon build, it's great for doing breach. You know, it will one-shot everything, you don't get touched, is great. But if you put a glass cannon build, for example, in Ritual, it can die there. If you put it in a Simulacrum, it will die for sure there. You want to play there a tanky build. Yeah, so tanky builds will have a better time in Simulacrums, and you need to compensate, okay? Because your build will not shine in Breach, at least they can shine in Simulacrum. So if you did my build, you know, I've been playing it for more than 3 months now, we will farm my boys Simulacrums all day, every day. So starting Friday, I will tell you right now, everyone will go into Simulacrum, and we're gonna make shit ton of profit, because now they are slightly more rewarding, slightly easier, and our build already could do them on difficulty +4. Many Simulacrum modifiers have had the benefits they provide to Delirium Masters reduced. Basically, will make the rare masters much more easier in Simulacrum, which is good, because some of those masters were actually harder than the unique bosses. So my problem with Simulacrum on difficulty +4 was the rare masters, not causes and omniphobia. which is pretty nuts. Accessibility to Pinnacle content and Atlas passives. Reduce the number of corrupting nexus you need to complete your Atlas passive tree. Each corrupting nexus now grants 5 skill points, allowing you to complete this task much more faster. You know, a lot of people complain that it takes forever to get all your Atlas skill points. Now, because you get 5 skill points instead of 2, this will speed up the process. I think it's a good change, it doesn't bother me. But you know, if you don't have a lot of time to play, this is a great change for you. You will get all your points faster. Well, you know, you got to love GGG because they are listening to the community and they are doing changes to the game. I said multiple times that this is early access. This is month 5 of the early access period and the game is doing great. Put this in comparison to other games that launch in early access and they were horrible. So I played multiple games in early access and this beats everything. Also, Path of Exile 2 already in early access period competes with stuff like Last Epoch, Diablo 4 in early access. Imagine this game when it goes live, how it will be. Of course it will be better. Lack of content, it's not a problem. You know, people complaining that we don't have enough content, that we don't have a crafting bench and all that thing. This crafting diversity and the content will be added as time goes by. That's not a problem. It will get added. Keep in mind that we are in month 5 of early access, so it's normal the game to lack a lot of things, but the core of the game is great. Increase the visibility of corrupting nexus so that you can see them from further away. People already were opening the Atlas skill tree and they were zooming in like this. Yeah, zooming to see if they have the corruption. Yeah. And GGG said, man, people already are zooming in. Let's make it more telegraph so they don't do that trash again. This is a good change. Atlas passive skill points have been, I cannot spell this word, granted. There are a few scenarios where you will have fewer Atlas passive skill points after the patch. In that case, your Atlas skills have been reset and you will allocate them again. Breach splinter drop rates have been increased by 50%. Delirium splinter drop rates have increased by 80%. This was needed because I was barely seeing any of them. This will also help with the simulacrums. People will put installments on their waystones, they will find a lot of splinters, meaning that Simulacrum can drop in price. This is a great change, also will help you with more loot. The change of finding audience with the king rituals is increased by 50%. Now the problem is they nerfed ingenuity. Already in this patch 0.2, the audience with the king is around 40 exalted tops, 50, and will drop even more if they are more common. Yeah. Player changes. And this is not that important, yeah. No, not important. This is very specific. Let me see if I see something important, you know, a skill that I love. Shit! Other changes and improvements. Scepters, Wanton Staves can now correctly roll an additional rune socket as a corruption outcome. Means that here we had a bug that prevented us from getting an additional rune socket. You know, sockets are very important in this game. We have talismans, we have soul cores, we have runes, and they also plan to add even more. Yeah. The number of monsters in Trial of Chaos areas below level 65 has been reduced. This is great because in the campaign you don't care about farming Trial of Chaos, you want to get your ascendancy as fast as possible. This is a good change that they did. Yeah, let's read here. Added a world map icon for the Titan's Point at Grotto. Added checkpoints to the Twisted Domain. I think this is for Bridge, no? Why not? More checkpoints always, it's welcomed, especially since in Path of Exile 2 we have such large areas. And here a couple of bug fixes. These are very specific. Yeah, I won't read this thing because I don't want to make this video too long. I addressed everything that you need to know. Man, if you enjoyed this shitty ass video, good for you. Here you have my main build in Path of Exile, a build that I've been playing for more than 3 months. And you can see for yourself how the build performs even for the hardest content. The Pinnacle content on maximum difficulty. Yeah, if you want to see this shitty ass video, let me know. Enjoy the rest of the day and good luck.